Greetings, citizens from the rolling hills of the bluegrass. So since 2016 and the rise of Donald Trump, we've had a spotlight shown on the facility that news plays in our lives. And the news organizations themselves. And it's something that, has always been known just under the surface, that the news organizations are just not neutral. We know this, but we kind of lie to ourselves and, just put it on the back burner. Don't worry about it right now. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. They'll give us the news and then we can parse it out. But we don't have time in our day-to-day lives, or we don't make time is the better way to put it. We don't make time to actually fact check these people that bring us the news. And without accurate news, you cannot understand anything at all without accurate communication. And this is, of course, a lot of this has already been talked and discussed, but it really, really is central to all of this. Our information, no matter where we get it from, is always going to have a slant on it. Because if the news was really the news, the headline would be, "Man drops rock, it hits the ground." That's news. Or, "Woman drives car, nothing happens." See? That's news. It's statement of occurrences that actually happen. But there's always a spin. Always a spin that's going to be put on everything in order to make sure that you have that confirmation bias, so that you look at their stations, listen to their radio programs, so that you can become a farmed commodity. Because the advertisers want your ears and your eyes. And so the only thing that gets eyes and ears, unfortunately, and this is probably some kind of ancient genetic adaptation to survival, but we always focus on the negative. Always in the background, because a negative could be something that could kill us, that could eat our children. It's the lion in the tall grass. So we got to pay good attention. Pay attention to the negative. But if it's good, well, then who really cares? Because it's something that will not kill us. And that's where hype culture in the news media has led us. Is there, and it's across the board. And that's one of the problems with instances like this, where I'm talking into this microphone and talking to you, hoping you will listen, is because, unfortunately, all of our information comes from these places. So even other bit shooters, I guess that might be the term that you would use for them, or for those who are on the other website, all of our information comes from these people. Because they have the infrastructure. They have the money to put people in the field and go to these stories, to witness these things live. Now you have a very small few Twitter, quote unquote, Twitter journalists who are actually on the ground doing some reporting of their own. But in the end, we all go to the same sources. Even the news companies, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, they all go to Reuters and AP, the Associated Press. They go there to get their news that then they tell us. And that's, depending on how you want to view the person who said it, they're repeaters. They're not journalists in the field. There's very few of them, and they're expensive because you've got to buy plane tickets, you've got to get them there, and if it's a conflict zone, you've got to then embed them with places. You're going to lose news reporters left and right. And you have to be willing to take that into account because in the end, it's a business. The news is a business, like everything is a business. You're going to need to put people in the field to get them out there with a camera to see things. And for the most part, these small independent news operations, especially the ones, I'm not going to name names, but the smaller ones, the more internet-based ones, they just don't have it. They do not have the resources to get people out there so that they can see what's going on. So what do they have to do? They have to do what is effectively reaction videos. And it's the best they can do. Right? No fault here. It's the best you can do. Analysis videos, reaction videos. And that's where it is. And that's where when the current President Trump says fake news, it in itself is almost fake news because it's not necessarily fake. It's manipulated news. Fake news is like Black Lives Matter. It's a nice short slogan you can throw at people and they can repeat. And go, oh, fake news. And we all become parrots. We all just repeat it. Fake news, fake news. It's manipulated. It's orchestrated. It's designed. It's been cut up like a piece of paper and shaped. It's journalistic origami. They take the story and they fold it and they move it around and they turn it into the shape that they want it to, and then they set it out and people can look at it. These are the people who are the great manipulators. And that's the reason why in America you have places that talk about state-run media. Well, in essence, all media is state-run because you have to go to the government to get a license in order to have your news operation. You're given bandwidth. You're given time. So, information is the most important thing to humans. After food, or even before food, because if you don't know your surroundings, if you look around and everything seems okay, but you don't see what moves over in the tree line, and you lower your head to get a drink of water, and when you look up, whatever it is charging out of the woods at you, you've lost the communication game. Your information was incorrect. You made a wrong choice by taking a drink of water instead of looking at that tree line going, what is that? It's like, another analogy is being at a train crossing and ignoring the arms that come down to block the train. And you drive around and get plowed by an oncoming freight train. You ignored the warning signs. Well, in some instances, manipulated news does that. Right? You hear the terms framing, angle, spin. All of these go in to persuading you to see the world in one way or another. And that is a very sad fact of humanity, is that we are infinitely manipulable. There are so many angles, so many directions from which we can be pushed and pulled. that we almost, in essence, don't have a chance unless you are extremely vigilant with who you're getting your information from. And in essence, you need to take information from everybody, because you're never going to get a complete picture from one source. Even ones you really like, even ones you really hate, you need to watch all of them. I believe it's Sun Tzu. You cannot fight your enemy if you do not understand your enemy. And you hate to put it in such stark terms with the word enemy, but in the end, they're trying to manipulate you. They're trying to get you to see the world through their eyes. And in essence, it's a weaponized form of empathy, because they want you to react in an emotional way. They want you to react without hesitation, because if you hesitate, that means you thought. And if you thought long enough on what's being said, you might not choose to do what you were going to do.